Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to discuss next chapter of Lakshmikant, that is cabinet committees. So before getting into this topic, let us see some of the introduction regarding this cabinet committees. So if you see the cabinet in India, this cabinet it is called as a Westminster model. And this cabinet it is a nucleus of power. And this cabinet committees it is not present in our constitution, but these constitutional committees are present in the rules of business and also the procedure of the government. So these are present in the rules of business. And if you see the type of this cabinet committees, there are mainly two types. What are they? The first one is standing committees and the second one is ad hoc committees. So what is the difference between these two types of the cabinet committees? So if you say this standing committees, they are permanent in nature. So when you are talking about ad hoc committees, they are temporary in nature. Whenever there is any need to resolve any special issue, so in that time this ad hoc committees will be constituted, and after that purpose these were dismantled. So for example, if you see in 1962 there was a one ad hoc committee which was established, that is the Cabinet Committee on War. Cabinet Committee on War, and this was during the Indo-China War. And this was constituted in the year 1962. So later on, after this war was completed and this cabinet committee on the war was dismantled. So this is about the ad hoc committees. So this cabinet committees are mainly two types. The first one is standing committee and the second one is ad hoc committee. Standing committee is a permanent in nature and the ad hoc committee it is temporary in nature. So if you see this cabinet committee, it is very important for this time prelims. So because there is some current affairs regarding this cabinet committee. So what happened in June 2019, there were two cabinet committees they were established. So what are they? The first one is Cabinet Committee on Investment and Growth. And the second important one is Cabinet Committee on Employment and the Skill Development. So this time you may expect a prelims question regarding this cabinet committees. So the first important one is Cabinet Committee on Investment and Growth. This cabinet committee mainly look after the investments which are more than 1000 crore rupees, and also it talks about the time limits of these investments, and it also look into stage by stage analysis of these projects. And the second one is Cabinet Committee on Employment and Skill Development. Mainly it looks into the matters regarding the skill development, any programs which are came up by the government regarding the skill development and how they are performing and how they are implementing. So these all look after by this Cabinet Committee on Employment and the Skill Development. So who will be the members of this cabinet committee? Not only the cabinet ministers but also some special invitees also present as the members of this cabinet committees. So there are 8 important cabinet committees that are present now. Out of these 8, 6 were chairman, who is the chairman or headed by the Prime Minister itself, and one committee, that is Committee on the Parliamentary Affairs, headed by the Defence Minister, that is Rajnath Singh. And if you see the another committee, that is Cabinet Committee on Accommodation, that was headed, or the chairman of that committee is the Home Minister, that is Amit Shah. So this is some of the introduction regarding this cabinet committee. So let us see what is present in the Lakshmikant. So the first slide talks about the features of the cabinet committees. So this is very important. So if you see, there are some important features of this cabinet committees. The first one is they are extra constitutional in emergence. They are not present in our constitution. Only Article 70C3 subclass 3, that Article 77 subclass 3 mainly talks that the power which is given to the president mainly for the easy or the convenient transactions of the business of the government, he can establish the committees. So that is about Article 77 subclass 3. So these are not present in our constitution. So these are the extra constitutional bodies, and in other words they are not mentioned in the constitution, but they are mentioned in the rules of the business, mainly provide for the establishment of this cabinet committees. So this is the first important point regarding the prelims. And let us see further. There are mainly two types of this cabinet committees. First one is standing committee and second one is ad hoc committee. So if you see the standing committees, they are permanent in nature, and ad hoc committees are the temporary in nature. And these ad hoc committees, they are constituted from time to time mainly to deal with the special problems. And after these special problems are dealt, then they will be dismantled. So for example, 1962, that is Cabinet Committee on War. Okay. And if you see, they are mainly set up by the Prime Minister according to the exigencies of the time and the requirements of the situation. Hence, their number and the nomenclature and composition varies from time to time. So this is again important prelims fact. And the next one is their membership varies from 3 to 8. And they usually include not only the cabinet ministers, and however special invitees, that means non-cabinet ministers, they are also present. That means they are not debarred from their membership. The membership can be also given to the non-cabinet ministers as well. So this is again prelims important fact. So these cabinet committees does not only include the cabinet minister, but also they include the special invitees as well. And the next one is they not only include the ministers in charge, but also they include the other senior ministers as well. And these cabinet ministers are mostly headed by the Prime Minister, but sometimes we can also see the home ministers or the finance ministers also acts as a chairman. So out of the 8 cabinet committees which are present now, 6 are headed by the Prime Minister, and 1 is headed by the Defense Minister, and 1 is headed by the Home Minister. So not all the times the cabinet committees are headed by the Prime Minister. So again, this is the important prelims fact. And let us see further. They not only sort out the issues and formulate the proposals for the consideration of the cabinet, but they also take the decisions. However, the cabinet can review their decisions as well. So these are some of the important facts. And last one fact is they are an organizational devices mainly to reduce the enormous workload of the president, and they also facilitate in-depth explanation of the policy issues and also the effective coordination. They talk in-depth examination of any policy or any effective coordination. They are mainly based on the principles of the division of power. So why these cabinet committees are formed? Because mainly to decrease the burden on the cabinet. Correct? So there is a division of labor and also the effective delegation of the powers. And if you see the list of the cabinet committees, they are present in 1994. In 1994, there are about 13 cabinet committees, and later on what happened, there are decreasing of the cabinet committees that is seen. So in 2013, there are 10 cabinet committees, and if you see in the 2019, there are only 8 cabinet committees. Recently in June 2019, these 2 cabinet committees, that is Cabinet Committee on Investment and Growth and Cabinet Committee on Employment and Skill Development, they were added in 2019 June. So this part is very, very important regarding the prelims point of view. So let us see what are those cabinet committees that are present now. First one is Cabinet Committee on Political Affairs, Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, Appointments Committee of Cabinet, Cabinet Committee on Security, Cabinet Committee on the Parliamentary Affairs, Cabinet Committee on Accommodation, Cabinet Committee on Investment and Growth, and the Cabinet Committee on Employment and the Skill Development. So these are the 8 cabinet committees that are functioning now. So what are the important functions of these cabinet committees? There are 4 important functions. So let us see one by one. The first one is Cabinet Committee on Political Affairs. So this cabinet committee mainly deals with the policy making matters regarding the domestic and also the foreign affairs. So this political affairs committee is the most powerful, okay, it is important one, and also most powerful cabinet committee that is present. And if you're talking about the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, it mainly directs and coordinates the governmental activities in the economic sphere. So regarding the finance. And the next one is Appointment Committee, that decides all the higher level appointments, mainly in the Central Secretariat and also public enterprises, banks and the financial institutions, etc. So it is regarding the appointment process. And the next one is a Parliamentary Affairs Committee. It is mainly deals or look after the progress of the government business in the parliament. So if you see the next important function, that is, of all the cabinet committees, the most important and the most powerful committee is the Political Affairs Committee. So this Political Affairs Committee is also called as a super cabinet. So which committee is called as super cabinet? That is Political Affairs Committee. So this is again important regarding the prelims. So let us see the next part, that is a group of ministers. So in addition to the cabinet committees, there are also several GOM, that is a group of ministers or constituted, mainly to look after the different issues or different subject. So some of these GOMs, that is group of ministers, they are also empowered to take the decisions mainly on the behalf of this cabinet, whereas some other group of members, mainly group of ministers, mainly make the recommendations to the cabinet. So some take the decisions on behalf of the cabinet and some will give the advices or recommendations to the cabinet. So if you see this GOMs, that is a group of ministers, has become a viable and effective instrument mainly for the coordination among the ministers. So they become the most viable and most effective instrument mainly because for the coordination among the ministers. And mainly these are the ad hoc bodies. So whenever I am saying they are ad hoc, that means they are temporary in nature. So these are the ad hoc bodies. They are mainly formed due to the recommendations to the cabinet on the certain emergent issues and the certain political problems. So if you see some of the recommendations which is given by the second ARC commission, that is the 2005 to 2009, it made some of the observations and also recommendations mainly with respect to the working of these GOMs, that is group of ministers. So let us discuss what are the recommendations. The first important one is commissions observed that constitution of the large number of the GOMs has resulted many GOMs not being able to meet regularly and also to complete their work. Thus, they are leading to the significant delays on many major issues. That means because of the increase in the number of the group of the ministers, and also this group of ministers is very large in number, so that does not make those people to meet regularly and to complete their work. So this is the one important problem that identified. And the next one is, this commission felt that more effective use of the institution of this GOM, that would perhaps that lead to more effective coordination, that particularly if they empowered mainly to arrive at a decision mainly on the behalf of the cabinet within time limits that prescribed for the completing of the work entrusted to them. So what is the meaning of this? Here the commission, that is second ARC commission, it says that more selective use of this institution would perhaps lead to the more effective coordination. That means we have to use this institution, that is a group of ministers, in a more selective way. That means it should only include the highly professional people, such that what happens, this group of ministers who are talented in such group, like the finance, like the economy, like the political affairs, international relations, etc. So when we have those such a person in this group of ministers, so we have to select those group of ministers selectively, such that these group of ministers will work very, very effectively along with the coordination that is particularly empowered mainly to arrive the decision on behalf of the government. So whenever they have the power to take the decision on behalf of the cabinet, so they should have the effective members. So this is the argument that is given by this second ARC commission. So if you see the next important one is, commission recommended that there is a need to ensure that existing coordination mechanism of this group of ministers, they function effectively and helps in the early resolution of the issue. Though we have some challenges, this group of ministers will work effectively and these helps in the resolving of the issues. So we have to go for this GOMs, but we have to go for these GOMs with a selective method and with a clear mandate and the prescribed time limits would be helpful for the proper functioning of these GOMs. So these are some of the recommendations which are given by the second ARC report. So these are very important regarding the mains point of view. Okay. By this we are concluding today. We discussed about some of the introduction regarding the cabinet committees and also what is written in the Lakshmikant, which is helpful for both the prelims and the mains. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to my channel. Please do like, share and comment my lectures. For the reference or to this lecture, please open your Lakshmikant and refer this topic. Thank you.